our awesome viewers. You're welcome to your favorite show, Democracy Games. Here in Democracy Games, we try to demystify democracy and teach citizens how to win the game of democracy. Today, we'll be discussing a very important topic. And today's topic, we're talking about legislative advocacy and social accountability. Exactly, you know what I'm talking about, right? That's your honorable member in the House of Assembly, the National Assembly. Let's know how you can hold them accountable. And we have very seasoned guests who will be dissecting this topic with me. We have Jamilu in the house. Jamilu is an EdTech professional, and he's also a Commonwealth Students Association representative. Oh my God. He's a representative. Honorable. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we also have Madam Agianpe Onyema. She's a democratic governance expert with lots of experience in elections. Yeah, she's been at the behind the scene in every election that has happened in this Niger, believe me, situation room. And we also have here, hello, Auntie.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm
Rahila. Rahila is basically the most popular young lawyer in Nigeria. Did you win that award?
No.
Is it over yet?
Yeah, it's over.
Are you kidding me?
I would have pushed for it.
Abi?
Really?
Yeah.
Rahila, I mean, everybody knows Rahila. She's a chairperson of Young Women in Politics Forum.
Yeah, past chairperson, pioneer chairperson.
Oh, yeah. And she's a very popular young lawyer. Everywhere you see her, and she's always making impact. So, and I'm your guest, Orji Stephen, and together we'll be doing justice to today's topic. So, legislative advocacy and social accountability. We understand that democracy itself is a representative form of government. So, what is the nexus? The people, legislature, government. How is this relationship supposed to function?
Okay, so we know that there are three arms of government.
Okay.
The legislature, the executive, and the judiciary.
Okay.
Of course, everyone knows about the executive because your president, governor, it's very easy, that one. What a lot of people don't understand is the legislature. And in a democracy, that's the most important arm of government. We all know about the separation of powers, which the whole concept of separation of powers, which actually means that all of them are independent of each other.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm looking at now in a democracy, you see people elect the president, the executive, and they do same for their legislators at the National Assembly and then the House of Reps. You know, how does this rule? How are they supposed to relate with them?
So it seems very far because the National Assembly is here in Abuja, but it's not that far.
Okay.
So there are three main functions of a legislator.
Okay.
Representation, oversight, and to make laws. So oversight agencies of government, and the executive. Representation represents your people and then make laws for the whole body of the National Assembly. So it seems like they are far, but some of them have constituency offices back home. A lot of them go home. That's an opportunity to engage with them. A lot of them have social media handles. So they say, oh, I'm supporting this bill. This is what I'm doing. Some of them, not everybody though.
Okay.
Let me not but some of them are very social media savvy. And I think following them on that. So if you have a legislator, you know that this person represents you, you should, as a matter of priority as a citizen, follow them on all their social media handles. Try and find out what they are about. What are they supporting? What sort of bills are they putting out? What committees do they belong to? Those sort of things. And then if you have something that you're interested in, you can now engage them on those particular things. And basically, that's what legislative advocacy is about. It just centers around introduction, implementation, and amending of bills and laws. That's it.
Okay.
So if I'm interested, for instance, like Rahila, who is a young female or interested in politics. So if I'm a young lady interested in women in politics, then I'll be looking for my legislator and to see if he's part of a committee or she's part of a committee that supports women in parliament or women in politics. And then you can actually look for a one-on-one sort of engagement on those issues with them.
You've mentioned committee. Is it like the kind of, you know what they say in Nigeria, when you want to kill an issue, you create a committee for it. Is it that kind of committee we are talking about?
Like every establishment, there are departments, there are, I'll say departments. And so that's what it is in National Assembly. So it's a whole body. You know that in the Senate, there are 109 senators and there are 360 in the House of Representatives. That's 400 and something people together. How can they function? So, of course, they have to be put in departments which are committees. And so the National Assembly as a whole has standing committees, they have special committees, and they have ad hoc committees.
Please explain.
So the ad hoc, let's start with the special committees. Special committees are actually set up or inaugurated on the day the National Assembly is inaugurated. And that's because they are very important for the Assembly to function. An example is the Rules and Business Committee. Another one is the one on security and then public accounts. So those are actually inaugurated right on the day the Assembly is inaugurated, usually after the elections, after the president has been sworn in May. Usually happens around June. And then you have special committees, you have standing committees. Standing committees are the committees that are inaugurated to help the Assembly to function. And lastly, you have ad hoc committees. It could be to investigate a matter, just set up for a special purpose, and then after that is disbanded.
Jamilu, I mean, these committees, I'm just trying to imagine which particular committee directly, affects the citizens and how.
Okay, I'll say a whole lot of the committees are set up to actually carry out processes that most of the time affects directly the citizens. So, for example, I remember when we were trying to push for the Nigerian Startup Bill. So I remember we had to reach out to someone at the. I'm not directly involved. I was at the. I was following up. So I would say they had to reach out to the Committee on ICT because the startup bill actually relates directly to the ICT. So they had to reach out to them, and through that they were able to make significant progress. So the committees generally, you have different ones on women affairs, just like she mentioned, on even the one on banking and business directly affects people as well. So yeah, they directly, in one way or another, it will fall back to the people. So yeah.
Okay, Rahila.
Yeah.
Have you had any reason to deal with any of these committees?
Yes, so I have actually. Thank God Ms. Onyema is here. I was a plaque intern in 2021. And I was I interned in the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters.
Please tell us. Oh. Gist us. Give us inside story.
Oh, great. Okay, so of course, Plaque runs this yearly internship that it please young Nigerians who are interested, of course, in the politics and governance of their country in various committees of the National Assembly. And for me, I would say that was the highlight of my year because I was able to, get to know the National Assembly as an institution. I didn't actually know. I just thought they just come, make laws. But it's actually a great institution with structure, in fact, that operates very incredible. So I get to know how laws are being made. It's not what we just read in government or in the university in theory, but you get to see it firsthand. There are times when the Senate is in session. we're privileged to also attend such plenary sessions. And also we deal, I was assigned to the committee on judiciary, and I work hand in hand with the clerk of the committee. So there are laws I know as at that time that, it passed through the committee stage that I was involved in. The committee chairman came in and we saw how those stages are, being done. It's not only the plenary that we see, but we get to know that there are stages for laws to be passed. So it's actually widened my horizon on such knowledge. It's not just the theory. So I get to know that. And also not only on the committee on the judiciary, there are also interactions with other committees. Just like he mentioned, women affairs. Sometimes they do public hearing, and we get the chance to attend and also contribute our input. So it was an amazing year for me.
So how do you, from your experience, what is the internal functioning? I'm a citizen now, for instance. I want to engage with the national or state House of Assembly. What do I do? How do they function? What are my chances? What are my options?
Okay, so just like she stated earlier on, the legislators have offices in their constituencies.
Okay.
You understand? Because, you have 469.
Okay.
Yes, from all over Nigeria. You don't expect everybody from all over Nigeria to come to Abuja. Of course, there's provision for constituency duties by each legislator. So it's very important that when the legislature is performing his or her constituency duties, you can also reach out to him. And just like she mentioned, most of them are tech savvy. You can easily reach out to them online, or perhaps just write to them to their various offices. And because there's, just like I said, when I was able to get into the National Assembly, I get to know a lot of things. It's a very organized system. So there are legislative aids to the legislators that you can easily reach out to through them.
And you have to narrow down your interest. What sort of interest? If you're just interested, you can follow information online. You can, National Assembly does live
sessions, it's true.
On TV,
yes,
NTA, so you can actually follow that information if that's what you're interested in. But if you're more interested in a bill or in making progress in a particular area, then direct lobbying, I think that would be the best form of engagement.
Direct lobbying, what is that?
Which means that one-on-one, you look for who is in charge, the legislator that is in charge of a particular issue. If it's a youth issue, for instance, and you're interested in amending a national youth strategy or something, or you want it to be a law, something that just like when they're not too young to run. So it will be handled by a committee. There will be a chairman of that committee. You look for the specific issue, or if it's the budget, there's the committee on appropriations. They do public hearings. They do, there's a time where they'll ask for people to bring in their suggestions, come to the public hearing. So what you need to do is follow the process.
It's true.
So that's what I'm saying. You have to narrow down your interests. So what outcome do you want at the end of the day? So if you want an outcome, then you have to narrow it down to a specific legislator. If it's something concerning your own community, who is your legislator? Follow your legislator. Things like that.
And also just to add that sometimes it's realistically speaking, sometimes it might be hard to actually get in touch with the legislators directly, but we can write. Another option is to actually reach out to their aides, which works very well actually in terms of lobbying, and also you can reach out to their aides directly or their senior legislative aides, and you get their audience eventually.
Interesting. So there's something you just mentioned now. You said you have to narrow it down to an interest. So if it's an interest that is of national importance, I reach out to a committee. If it's something concerning my constituency, I reach out to my legislature. Am I correct? Or
I would say, just like you said, if it's directly concerning you, that's your constituents or your community, you can actually reach out to your lawmaker. Yes, and usually we have them differently at the local level, at the state level, at the federal level. So there are certain issues that might concern the local government, that you just have to reach out to the councillors at the ward, which is even it's a bit closer to the people. So when it concerns the states, that's when you start mobilizing. Let me reach out to women in politics. If it concerns women, let me reach out to women in politics, or maybe they can help. Let me reach out to social organizations. Let me reach out to community organizations, and from there, gradually, the momentum builds up. You can even use the social media as well, and you get results eventually.
One thing is you need to be consistent in that, because it may not be easy at some point getting access. Of course, they have a lot of people they deal with, so you need to be consistent. You need to know what to do at a particular period, so that you just don't end up giving up on the process. But I believe it's positive. With the legislators we're having, a lot of them are ready to work.
Yeah.
Yes.
True,
just
true.
the information.
Yes.
You don't know what to do and
Just
how to get access.
Yeah.
That's just.
And to add to this, something happened recently where a foreign student was killed in a particular country.
Okay.
So, and we, as an association, Commonwealth Association, we visited the committee chairman in charge of diaspora. Yes.
Oh, there's a committee on
Yes,
diaspora.
and NGO, I think.
NGOs and
Yes.
diaspora.
So we're having a conversation, and I was surprised that he actually took out his pad and he was jotting down some of the things that we were saying. So most of the time they listen, actually, especially when you get an audience with them. But usually it's getting the audience that
It's difficult.
and she said something that is very, very key, that you should be persistent. So if you are persistent, you get results eventually.
So what other committees exist?
Yeah, a lot of
Everything.
committees.
Everything. Almost everything. Like presently, I think Nigeria is actually having committees with almost all the countries. Bilateral committee with Poland.
Friendship
Exactly.
committee.
So committees are plenty. There's one on women.
There's
one on
Several.
security,
business,
several
security.
committees.
Education has
Yes,
Education,
tertiary
ethics and
education,
privilege.
has basic education, several.
There are a lot of committees, and I think you can with just a click you can Google on it and you will see. Just put committees of National Assembly and
Yes,
it
there-
will just-
even on
standing
the-
committees.
Yes, on the National Assembly website.
Yes, I
Yes.
think it is there, so you can just.
Okay. So now we understand that democracy as a representative form of government, this implies that whatever you're going to do there has to reflect the will of the people you are representing. How do we do this connect?
So for me, it depends really.
Okay.
People come from different places, and yes, they are at the national level. At the end of the day, making laws for Nigeria, but primarily, and their priority, like you said, is the people that put them there.
Yes.
If erosion is my problem from my state, and that's what I want to focus on, is because that is what is my constituency problem, and someone else can take up another issue that affects these people. The bottom line is that together there are several thematic areas that are being worked on, and we are making laws for. But when you see sometimes citizens are like, these people, they are not talking on this issue, they are not talking on that issue. It's what might be your issue might not be my issue.
Sure.
And at the end of the day, I represent the people. And so if the people feel like this is a matter of urgent importance or national importance, they can come together. That's another thing we don't do in Nigeria.
Yes.
Organize ourselves, come together, and then push and say, let's go and look for this I represent. You will find them. You will find them. There's no way. You either see them back at home. There's the state assembly. You can also use
them.
your representatives from the state assembly to reach the ones at the national. And then whatever it is, you can push it up.
So also to add, I actually know that it's actually kind of like a Nigerian thing, but I when I received this invite, I was so happy, because we need avenues like this to actually make this known, that these people, they are not aliens. We can actually get access to them. A lot of people think, we'll just elect them and that's all. After 4 years, they'll come back again. But no, they need us. They need to know that, we're actually going through something, because the reality is that sometimes they might not even know that, you are facing this, you are facing that. So the more we are aware, the more we can actually do things regarding our plight. So
Yes, thank you.
That's it.
Thank you for saying that. Because it's important. A lot of Nigerians, sorry to say, don't read. Even we have such issues with lawyers too. Some of them don't even know what the law says. The law is there, but people don't read it, and they don't even know how to apply it. It's not only the ordinary citizen. So it's important that we get to know what our law says and also apply it. It's not just there, and then the focus should not just be on the president. Most of the time the focus is on presidential election. What's the president doing? But there are a lot of things that are going on. It's not even the federal legislative, even your own local. We need to also put focus on that, put eyes on that. It's not just the president that should be the focus and the interest of people.
Personally, I think the focus should even be more on
the
local
local,
government.
yes.
Beyond
On the
president.
local government.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, how much power can they wield at
The
that
local
level? I think that's why people now
It's true,
focus
focus is-
outside, because their own
That counts as well.
they are limited to what they can actually make
Make
laws
laws.
on, what they can, things like that.
We still have some governors controlling local government, so it can actually be.
Yeah.
But the more the people stand up, at least they too will stand up.
Yeah. And that's the bits on social accountability.
Accountability.
Yes.
I was actually heading to
Yeah.
that now, social account, because you've seen we have. I don't know if there's still any now presently, but we've had representatives who has been there since 1999.
Yeah, we know
Is
them.
it? I don't know if they are still there, but is it that they are doing the will of their people? And we also have seen people who.
Wait, so
Why the people keep on voting them?
In a situation where, okay, let's even use the recent gender bills now that they threw out. Now they rejected those bills in the last assembly, and data has shown us that 70% of votes in every election is made up of young persons and women. And then these people that we voted for rejected this bill that is in favor of this demography. That clearly doesn't represent the will of that demography.
But you know how elections go on in Nigeria. There are several other factors that define elections. Some of it is money. You
A lot.
You might be
Practically, yes.
you might be saying, "Oh, I'm not voting this person." But on that day,
So a lot
when
of
you
things
get
happen.
to the fields and you're seeing 15,000, 10,000. your mind
Especially in the
changes.
recent elections, that are just off-cycle elections, a lot of vote buying was recorded, and it's not. I mean, let me even say this shockingly: it's not even happening in secular politics alone. Even in the NBA elections, these are people that are supposed to be learned, in the sense of it,
Okay.
but they are exploiting contestants. So it's.
But how can citizens hold elected representatives, that's a legislature, how can citizens hold them accountable? Because it is when the citizens hold legislature accountable, then the legislature can in turn hold the executive accountable. In a situation where the grip of citizens on the legislature is poor, then there's basically nothing citizens can do about government as a whole. So how can citizens hold the legislature accountable?
I'll start by saying, before we even think about holding the elected officials accountable, we currently in this podcast, we have a lot of work to do.
Okay.
Beyond us as well, the people that are similar and are in the line of work that we do also have a whole lot of work to do, because the reality is that a lot of people are not actually aware that it is possible to hold these people accountable. So we need to get people aware that, these are the ways to go. If you follow this step, you get this done. We need to get a whole lot of these steps that have already been done, that have already been documented, like from the likes of the recent mental health bill, the processes that they follow to actually get President Muhammadu Buhari, the previous president, to actually assent to it. We need to document those steps and, take it beyond Twitter, put it on Facebook, put it on radio that, these are the steps that was followed. We got this done, and gradually people will start embracing. People that were lax before will start embracing that, we can actually do this. Then from there, we'll now start discussing more on, let's get this, let's hold these people accountable, and it will flow from there.
So how can citizens do that?
Okay, do you want to go or should? Okay.
Yeah, I feel like citizens are trying now. People are a lot more aware. In the past, they'll say, "Oh, civil society organizations are the ones that should be doing that," and I think that's another misconception. All citizens are civil society because you either belong to a group or association or something. But when an NGO has a focus and is focused in that area, they expect that you should be speaking for all of them, and it shouldn't be. But I'm going to say that with the emergence of social media, a lot has happened. Even in this administration, as we speak, there have been a lot of reversals because people complain.
True.
So I think it's just to keep the pressure. Just keep the pressure. If there's a particular issue that people are angry about or want a change for, you start on social media, then take it to the streets. Go to the front of National Assembly, make your protest. If there's a public hearing, write a memo, submit it. So those are different ways in which you can engage and say, okay, we've put all these things in, and at the end of the day, if you feel that this particular assembly did not meet up to what you expected, the only thing is to vote them out.
I think you need a practical, you need a more
vote them out.
Recall, yes, the constitution provides for them.
Please.
Yes, I think constituents can actually recall their legislator.
Really?
Yes, half of the votes, those are voted for that particular legislature. If you can sign and submit that, that's the power of recall. It's in the constitution.
Yeah, it's in the constitution. I know, but is it possible? Because I know that section.
I don't think it has happened.
It has never happened. The only time they even tried it was during Senator Dino Melaye's period, and it didn't happen. Because that section is saying that for you to be able to recall an elected rep, you need 51% of the registered voters in his constituency, his or her constituency, not less than 51% of the registered voters. Now, my question is, in a situation where not even up to 51% voted him or her in the first instance, why are you now requiring more numbers to recall the person back? I don't know if you understand. On the voter register, there's 5,000 people on the voter register. On the election day, 2,000 people, 1,500 people come and vote. Yet tomorrow now comes, we don't like this rep anymore. The constitution now says, for you to call this person back, you need not less than 2,500 people to recall the person that 1,500 people voted in.
That's the way things are, and those things could be amended. Unfortunately, voter turnout is another issue. So some of these laws are put there as a practical measure, but in real sense can't happen because of all these other intervening factors, and everything is interrelated. So it might be a standard recall process in another jurisdiction that they said, let's bring to Nigeria, but maybe in that jurisdiction voters turn out more than in
Nigeria. Okay.
And how we are, we never go back to issues. We never look at what the underlying problem is and say, how can we address this? We just keep going and going and going. So
and copy and paste too. We don't do things that peculiar.
The recall process has never worked because we've not reviewed it. We've not looked at it to say what is practical for Nigeria.
What is best suited for us?
Let's even look at oversight, the oversight functions of the legislature. How does it work in Nigeria?
So there are agencies of government that the National Assembly oversights. So for instance, the Committee on Maritime oversights NIMASA, which is the
agency.
Which is the Agency for Maritime and Safety Administration. I think that's the full name of Nigerian Maritime and Safety Administration. So they will oversight all the agencies that have to do with maritime. So, for instance, go for visits, site visits. If they come and say, "Oh, in our budget, we are going to build a school in Akwa Ibom," it behoves on them to be able to go there and make sure that that money that was appropriated was used. That's a form of oversight. And there are several other ways in which they can follow up. You know, sometimes even nomination of DGs and heads of agencies are subject to confirmation of the Senate.
Yes.
That's a form of oversight. So they are supposed to look and see that this person is best suited for this position, and then they have every right to say no, this person is not, and then the president will actually nominate somebody else. So it's if they have actually used that power very well. That's the question. But
Exactly.
that do they have the powers
They have.
to actually override and say no to certain functions of the executive? Yes, they do.
No, okay. I just want to add that it's also a way to actually checkmate other, because the National Assembly
Exactly.
are there, the presidency itself is there. Then you have other
the
arm
judiciary.
personnel, the judiciary. So each one checkmates the other.
Each other.
Do you have any final thoughts, really?
Okay, not really. I mean, they have said it all.
Your
so checks
final
and
thoughts,
balances.
okay.
Okay, on the checks and balances. Okay, I think it's important that checks and balances are being utilized by the three arms of government, because it actually checks abuse of power and other undemocratic things that may happen. So I think it's good. These days judiciary is under a lot of storm in Nigeria. A lot of things is ongoing. So I think it behooves on other arms of the government to ensure that the right things are being done, because I mean this has been provided for in the constitution. So why are you not utilizing it? Why are we just allowing things to just go by? I think our tolerance level is very high in this part of the country. We just allow things to extremely high. We just allow things to go by, and then we move on easily. So I mean checks and balances is it's a very, very important what will I even say means of checkmating excesses in government.
Interesting. Jamilu, what are your final thoughts, please?
Okay, I'll just say, as citizens, even at the local level, we should endeavor to attend public hearings. We should endeavor to actually engage with our elected
Press.
legislators, and actually get to converse that okay, if there's actually a problem, we should come together and actually resolve it, and we should not be lax in the sense that we should not relax that they are this, they are that. We should actually engage first before we come to any conclusion in that regard. So that's it for me.
Okay, your final thoughts also, you close with this public hearing.
Yeah, public hearings are always, they are advertised. The information is always put out in the national dailies if a public hearing is coming up. And we've said it all. It boils down to your interest as a citizen. What is that thing that you want out of your legislators? What is that new thing? What is that amendment? What exactly do you want? And then you begin from there to build and to follow a process in which you can engage them. For me, that's it. And yes, the National Assembly needs to do more. I think it's what makes a democracy and puts the executive in check. The judiciary, yes, is as old as the executive, but the judiciary has also been subjected to military rule. And you know that in the military rule, the president is everything. But the legislature is the one that should come and say, look, we are checkmating the executive, and be able to give that independence to the judiciary that it hasn't had ever since. And so we expect a lot more, which I don't think we are getting, and it can actually be better.
All right. Thank you once again, people. We've come to the end of this interesting episode of Democracy Games, where we try to teach you everything democracy. A democracy cannot develop faster than its people have the knowledge of navigating it. Today you've learned about the committees of the National Assembly. You've learned about what else did we talk about today?
The power of the citizen
to recall and hold their elected reps
social accountability. Yes.
Accountable. So let's endeavor to know who is your rep. What laws are they voting on your behalf? What are those constituency projects that has been assigned to you? And ask questions. Because the legislature is your link to your government, and you just can't let it go unaccounted for. Please remember, if you want to learn more on the subject matter, log on to our website, sign up for the courses, get certified, and be a volunteer for Nigeria. Thank you for watching. I'm your host, Orji Stephen. Join us again next week for another interesting episode of your favorite game show, Democracy Games. See you next time.